Have you ever felt like your body quietly changed the rules after 40, as if the metabolism you once relied on suddenly stopped cooperating without explanation? You eat the same foods, follow the same routines, maybe even work out harder than you did in your 30s, yet the scale inches upward, your midsection feels softer, your energy dips earlier in the day, and you're left wondering what went wrong. Most people are told it is simply age, that slowing metabolism is inevitable, a natural consequence of getting older. But what if that explanation is incomplete? What if the real story is deeper, more intricate, and surprisingly empowering once you understand it? Because metabolism is not just about calories in and calories out. It is not just about willpower, discipline, or how many steps you take in a day. After 40, your body becomes more dependent on internal balance, especially hormonal balance, and one of the most overlooked players in this entire process lives inside your gut. The connection between estrogen and gut bacteria is something few people are taught, yet it may explain why so many experience inflammation, stubborn midsection weight gain, breast tenderness, bloating, and fluid retention during midlife. Inside your digestive system, trillions of bacteria are constantly working, influencing everything from immune function to mood to metabolic speed. Among these microbes are certain strains that produce an enzyme called beta-glucuronidase. This enzyme plays a pivotal role in what happens to estrogen after your liver has already done the hard work of packaging it for elimination. Under normal conditions, your body processes excess estrogen in the liver, binds it, and sends it to the gut to be excreted. That is efficient detoxification. That is balance. But when beta-glucuronidase activity becomes elevated, something unexpected happens. Instead of allowing estrogen to leave the body, this enzyme can break those bonds and recycle estrogen back into circulation. The result is not necessarily sky-high hormone levels, but rather a subtle, persistent recirculation that keeps estrogen lingering longer than it should. Over time, this can contribute to low-grade inflammation, water retention, increased fat storage around the abdomen, and the frustrating sense that your metabolism has slowed for no clear reason. Suddenly, the issue is no longer about eating less. It becomes about eliminating better. It becomes about supporting the pathways that allow your body to clear hormones efficiently. This is where the gut-estrogen connection changes everything. When the microbiome is balanced, estrogen metabolism tends to function smoothly. When dysbiosis develops, when certain bacterial populations overgrow while beneficial strains decline, beta-glucuronidase activity can increase, disrupting hormone clearance and creating a ripple effect throughout your metabolic system. And here is the empowering truth. This process is not random. It is not destiny. It is influenced by the food you eat, the fiber you consume, the plant compounds you include in your diet, your stress levels, your sleep quality, and your blood sugar stability. The body after 40 is not broken. It is simply more sensitive to imbalance. It requires smarter support, not harsher restriction. Understanding this shifts the narrative from frustration to strategy. Instead of blaming age alone, you begin to recognize that your metabolism is deeply connected to your internal ecosystem. The real question is not why your metabolism betrayed you. The real question is whether you are ready to support it from the inside out, starting with the microscopic world within your gut that may be quietly determining far more than you ever imagined. At this point, you might be thinking that if this process has been happening silently inside you, then how long has it been influencing your body without your awareness? The unsettling truth is that hormonal recycling through elevated beta-glucuronidase does not announce itself with dramatic symptoms at first. It begins subtly. You may notice that your usual workouts no longer produce the same results. You may feel puffier in the morning, rings fit tighter, jeans resist closing. Energy fluctuates, sleep becomes lighter, cravings intensify, especially for sugar or refined carbohydrates. You tell yourself it is stress. You blame a busy schedule. You assume it is simply midlife. But beneath the surface, something biochemical may be unfolding with quiet persistence. When excess estrogen is recycled instead of eliminated, it can amplify inflammatory signaling throughout the body. Inflammation, even at low levels, changes how your cells respond to insulin. It influences how fat is stored and how efficiently fuel is burned. It alters hunger hormones and impacts thyroid sensitivity. The system is interconnected, and when one pathway becomes congested, others begin compensating in ways that feel like metabolic slowdown. What makes this even more suspenseful is that many people attempt to fix the visible symptoms while overlooking the hidden mechanism. They cut calories aggressively. They increase cardio. They eliminate entire food groups. They push harder, yet their body resists. The more they restrict, the more stressed the body becomes, and chronic stress itself can further disrupt the microbiome. Elevated cortisol levels alter gut permeability and bacterial balance, potentially increasing the very enzyme activity that contributes to estrogen recirculation. It becomes a cycle that feels impossible to break. But here is where clarity begins to replace confusion. Your gut microbiome is not static. It responds rapidly to environmental inputs. Specific dietary fibers act as nourishment for beneficial bacteria, encouraging strains that support proper hormone clearance. Soluble fibers from foods like oats, legumes, and certain seeds form gels that bind compounds in the digestive tract, assisting elimination. Insoluble fibers from vegetables and whole foods add bulk and accelerate transit time, reducing the opportunity for estrogen to be reactivated. Cruciferous vegetables provide phytonutrients that assist liver detox pathways, supporting the initial processing of estrogen before it even reaches the gut. Polyphenol-rich foods such as berries, green tea, and colorful plants help modulate microbial populations, gently discouraging overgrowth of bacteria associated with high beta-glucuronidase activity. Blood sugar stability also plays a crucial role. When glucose levels spike and crash repeatedly, inflammatory signals rise and microbial balance shifts unfavorably. Balanced meals that include protein, healthy fats, and fiber reduce these fluctuations, creating an internal environment less hospitable to dysbiosis. Sleep becomes another silent regulator. During deep rest, the body repairs tissues, recalibrates hormonal rhythms, and supports immune balance within the gut lining. Chronic sleep deprivation disrupts this repair process, indirectly influencing estrogen metabolism. Stress management, often dismissed as optional, becomes essential. Breathing practices, time outdoors, resistance training, and mindful movement are not luxuries. They are metabolic tools. The suspense lies in realizing that the answer was never about punishing your body into submission. It was about removing the hidden interference. When gut bacteria are balanced and beta-glucuronidase activity is moderated naturally through lifestyle, estrogen clearance improves. As clearance improves, inflammation declines. As inflammation declines, metabolic flexibility returns. The body begins to respond again. The scale may not change overnight, but energy stabilizes, bloating reduces, cravings soften. You feel less like you are fighting yourself and more like you are working with your biology. This is the turning point, the moment when you recognize that your metabolism did not betray you. It was waiting for you to understand the deeper connection all along. The real question is whether you are ready to support it from the inside out, starting with the microscopic world within your gut that may be quietly determining far more than you ever imagined. And this is where everything shifts from information to transformation, because once you understand the gut-estrogen connection, you can no longer see your metabolism as a simple math equation. You begin to see it as an ecosystem, dynamic and responsive, influenced by daily choices that either create congestion or create flow. After 40, the body becomes less tolerant of neglect and more responsive to precision. It asks for nourishment instead of punishment. It asks for rhythm instead of extremes. When you support healthy estrogen clearance, you are not chasing weight loss. You are restoring communication within your biology. Think about what happens when elimination pathways function smoothly. The liver processes hormones efficiently, the gut escorts them out without unnecessary recycling. Inflammation settles, fluid retention decreases. The midsection softens not because you starved yourself, but because internal signaling improved. This is metabolic intelligence at work. The mistake so many people make is believing that slowing metabolism is an irreversible sentence handed down by age. But age itself is not the enemy. Accumulated imbalance is, and imbalance can be corrected with consistent, strategic action. Start with fiber diversity, not just fiber quantity. Different fibers feed different bacterial strains, and microbial diversity is protective. Include cruciferous vegetables regularly, not as an occasional garnish, but as foundational support for detox pathways. Embrace polyphenol-rich foods that act as gentle modulators of your internal ecosystem. Stabilize blood sugar by prioritizing protein and healthy fats at each meal. Reduce ultra-processed foods that encourage dysbiosis and inflammatory signaling. Hydrate sufficiently so elimination pathways can operate efficiently. Protect sleep as if it were a supplement, because it is one of the most powerful hormonal regulators you possess. Manage stress not because it sounds holistic, but because stress chemistry directly alters microbial balance and hormone clearance. When you approach metabolism from this internal perspective, something remarkable happens. You stop obsessing over restriction and begin focusing on restoration. You no longer ask, how can I eat less? But instead ask, how can I support my body more intelligently? That subtle shift changes everything. because the body after 40 is incredibly capable when given the right signals. It wants equilibrium, it wants efficiency, it wants resilience. And when the gut microbiome is balanced, beta-glucuronidase activity remains within a healthy range, allowing estrogen to be cleared instead of constantly recycled. The result is not just a smaller waistline, it is clearer skin, steadier moods, improved digestion, and a renewed sense of vitality that radiates from within. This is about reclaiming agency. It is about recognizing that your metabolism did not mysteriously disappear. It adapted to internal stressors that can be addressed. The power lies in consistency, not perfection. Small, repeated actions reshape microbial populations over time. Those microbial shifts influence enzyme activity. Enzyme activity influences hormone clearance. Hormone clearance influences inflammation. And inflammation influences metabolic efficiency. Everything is connected. The question is whether you will continue chasing surface-level solutions or choose to work at the root. Because once you align your habits with your biology, progress feels different. It feels sustainable. It feels calm. It feels like cooperation instead of conflict. And that is the true philosophy of midlife metabolic health. Not fighting age, but understanding it deeply enough to respond wisely. Your body is not broken. It is communicating. Listen to it. Support it. Trust the process of restoring balance from the inside out. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early. The body begins to respond again. The scale may not change overnight, but energy stabilizes. Bloating reduces. Cravings soften. You feel less like you are fighting yourself and more like you are working with your biology. This is the turning point, the moment when you recognize that your metabolism did not betray you. It was waiting for you to understand the deeper connection all along. The real question is whether you are ready to support it from the inside out, starting with the microscopic world within your gut that may be quietly determining far more than you ever imagined.